could that be absorbed in any existing department budgets?
I can't answer if it could be absorbed into other budgets, but yeah, there are some estimates of what that ongoing cost would be. The reason why it costs so much in this beginning is because for particularly the centralized eligibility list, that hasn't been in existence for a number of years, so it's an effort to start that up and create that. So ongoing, the estimate is about 10 to 12 million to sustain that. That's based on just. In the past, it was at about 8 million. This is about, I think it ended in 2011. And then the workforce registry, I believe, is about 3 to 4 million for continuing that, and that's when it becomes statewide. It's a pilot right now.
Great, thank you.
Some of the other costs are ongoing with through other funds currently in existence.
Thank you, that's helpful. And do you expect that it could be developed within a year? Could it, if it were funded, the establishing the system?
I imagine that it will take a few years just to get up to speed, just from the investment last year to even coordinate the different databases. Right. That has taken quite a while just to even get contracted and moving forward. So I imagine it would take a few years for this to be fully up and running. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Senator Allen.
Yeah, this is just a question for Patty from the Child Care Law Center. Just, once again, I'm from Budget 1 instead of Sub 3, so I just want to get a better understanding of, obviously everyone wants to increase the reimbursement rates, but when you talk about transitioning to a single rate structure, could you just explain to me what exactly that means?
Yes, I can try to explain that. So we have two rate structures currently. We have a regional market rate, and that is set based on different regions in the state. And then we have for our Title V centers a standard reimbursement rate, which does not vary whether you're from San Francisco or Yolo County. And so what we are talking about first is the piece that is required under CCDBG and is long overdue, and as has been pointed out by Senator Stone, we should be using current income levels, rate surveys as well, is we are currently using a 2009 regional market rate survey, and that was then reduced by 10.11% and then increased by 4.5%, but with a hold harmless provision, which that would take about 4 hours for me to understand, much less explain. So the proposal is to bring the regional market rate up to the most recent study. And it's important to know that that study has been done. It won't cost any money to do that study. It was done in 2014. It is available. And just as an example, if you were to look at San Diego, if I could give you one example, the maximum reimbursement for an infant in licensed family child care is $758 a month. And that is $235 below the true benchmark, which should be the 85th percentile of the most recent survey. So what does that mean for a family? It means because she's closer to the 50th percentile, about half of the providers will find that her voucher is too low. So then on the standard reimbursement rate, to get to that piece of your question, because there is no regionalization, there is a desire to make sure that those counties where the regional market rate is higher would be able to obtain that rate as well.
Okay, I guess I know you're only given a few lines to put into our agenda here, but I'm trying to understand how that, why is that proposal considered a single rate structure? It sounds like there are several variables. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand what you mean when you say.
Maybe a unified rate structure would be a more accurate description, that we are moving towards one rate structure that has regional difference. Is that helpful?
As opposed to the current rate structure, which, I mean,
an equal rate structure. Is that clear? So there have been legislative efforts in the past to try to merge the standard reimbursement rate and regional market rate together so that you would pay all based on the same structure and pay based on the governance requirements of each type of program, so that your Title V centers would be paid at the top of the regional market survey, Title 22 centers would come in below, family child care, and then exempt within the same
programs
are differing. Correct. So right now we have two completely separate structures, and it's complicated for the industry, it's complicated for all of you to understand, and it's really not necessary. They just evolved over 50 years of California doing childcare. So what we have proposed for many years is to move those two systems together, and I think the Women's Caucus proposal this year moves us in the right direction by bringing the regional market rate up to current, bringing those higher cost standard reimbursement rate counties into that structure, and beginning that process of merging the two systems.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand why it's always a challenge to get more money. You know, which is what you need. I get that. What's been the barrier to at least creating a more coherent rate structure, even within the financial constraints that we find ourselves?
When we proposed legislation a couple of years ago, the estimate that we got to merge it all at once was in the $3 billion range. It's money. To move these systems together and to adequately provide funding so you don't have people move down in what we're reimbursing them, which is already too low, it's a significant investment needed to be able to do it. And as I said, I think the Women's Caucus proposal starts to move us in that direction, but we're going to have to do it over multiple years just because of the size of the investment that's needed.
If I might, just because I think it helps to think about it in terms of what the policy goal of a uniform system might be, and it's the idea that we actually recognize the cost in the market to provide the care that we're requiring with state rules, and the idea that a subsidized voucher from the state should be able to purchase the quality of care that we're outlining in the state based off of the market. And the market is already a depressed one naturally, as was spoken to by Ms. Aroner. So the idea here is we're talking about a huge amount of money price tag wise to actually achieve the goal the state set out long ago, and we've become so disconnected over time between these two systems that it now has this big price tag, but it's the same goal. We're just discussing restructuring, if that helps.
Right, okay, no, that's helpful. I mean, I guess, so maybe it's just nomenclature. I mean, instead of saying single rate structure, I think what you're really meaning is just bringing the system up closer to market.
An equal rate structure.
But at both ends, because the standard reimbursement rate has never been connected to the market. That's the problem, right? The legislature and the governor control it. It is not a regional, it's not based on any regional market. And it's very, so for a standard reimbursement rate center, which means they are Title V center, they have higher requirements in regards to staffing and ratios and all of that. It is possible to pay for infant care in one of those at a lower rate than you pay in a family daycare home. Something's wrong with that picture. Okay.
And you're talking about merging regional and standard and then moving it closer to what?
Market.
Absolutely.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's why I think to describe it as an equal or fairer pay structure is probably better than just one.
Thank you.
Senator Block.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It seemed to me the real cost isn't so much in the merging as it is into the raising it.
Right.
Yeah. So it might be interesting to see the merging in and of itself, which would, I think, be a step in the right direction, what that would be. But we'll leave that for.
But again, the merging.
With no new money.
The merging, right. And if you're going to do a regional assessment for the standard, that's going to automatically kick those up. And
So you want to merge without bringing anybody down. And that,
right.
Yeah, and that becomes very expensive. So that's where my question really is. We've been talking a lot about programs, investments that I think everybody in this room thinks are reasonable, and a shame we're not doing already. The question is source of revenue to do that. And that's where Sub 1, maybe, and Sub 3 have some different sources of revenue. In Sub 1, most of our revenue comes from Prop 98. And last year, Prop 98 had a real windfall. this year it's still fairly good compared to general budget. Don't know for sure where it's going to be next year or the year after that or 5 years down the road. So my question to you is, and Ms. Gable, you in particular, since you worked at the Department of Education, any of the programs you're suggesting today that could be reasonably funded with Prop 98 funding without causing CTA and everybody else to go nuts?
Again.
So if you, do you mean in terms of some of the things we've been talking about today in particular, or because the program in
Your
general? Okay,
investment
so specifically to the proposal that I put on the table today, the CSPP QRS block grant is funded currently with Proposition 98 dollars. We do believe that that's absolutely an appropriate source, as we're both funding it through local education agencies as their role as quality improvement leaders in the community, as well as the fact that we are providing professional development for the first teachers in our preschool programs. The bottom line of the rest of the conversation is it depends on where you believe all these programs belong, period. The child development programs, whether it be the stages or AP or CSPP, all of those programs, where they belong on each side of Proposition 98 has been, of course, a big debate within this legislature for a number of different years. And every other addition you make to those programs stems from that. At this point, you have a line between CSPP and the rest of your child care programs. I think it is absolutely a prudent conversation to continue happening, whether or not that is where the line belongs. Now, any investment you make in increasing rates for CSPP, for example, then would be on the Proposition 98 side of the ledger. However, any changes to the rates that impact CSPP also impact the rates of their brethren who are funded through non-98. So you are weighing those issues as you look at rate increases and your funds.
Thank you.
Any other comments from members, questions? Okay, thank you very much. We'll open it up to the general public for your comment. We're going to remind folks that you have 1 minute as set by Senator Block at the top of the hearing. I see a lot of blue T-shirts, so I'm going to ask that parent voices not be repetitive. If your parent voice's sister in front of you said something, you say something else. That's how you maximize your time. So I'm going to remind folks to not be repetitive to get the maximum utilization of your 1 minute. First witness, please.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Carolyn Thompson, and I am a child care provider with UDW and ASME, Local 3930 in Contra Costa County, and I've been providing for children over 30 years. When parents have a frequently recertification to keep their subsidy in child care, I can create a problem with the effective to the parents and the children, but providers as well. Missing their recertification date or by a day or missing a form can cause a parent to lose their child care immediately. I don't get paid while the parents in the child care are reapplying for their subsidy again, and I lose money for families or drop within the program. When I don't get paid for the child care, I provide my daycare, and everyone who relies on it suffer. I can't pay it in any of my employees because of the lack of funding and the jeopardy of losing all good employees because I'm not being paid. I struggle to buy food and feed the children in my care and pay my utility bills and mortgage. A 12-month eligibility period will give me more financial security and help me continue to provide children with quality care. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next witness, 1 minute.
Janine Micheletti, representing California Alternative Payment Program Association. In response to the first panel that you had on the utilization, I also want to make sure that it's on the table, the utilization and the caseload issues with the alternative payment program side of the house. Caseloads on the AP side of the house have surged from 2010 from 1 caseworker to 40 families. We're now on average 1 caseworker to 185 families. We're not able to refer those families and get them connected to all the wraparound support and to the quality preschool and TK and all the programs we're talking about. Secondly, in regards to the 12-month eligibility, please know moving to a 12-month eligibility On the face of it, will reduce some administrative issues. It will create real cost pressures on the other side. Aside from the eligibility determination, families come through the alternative payment programs on average from 2 to 5 times per year, needing services and support. So please don't look at the 12-month eligibility as a way to sort of reduce funding for APs. Let's get the caseloads down from 1 to 185, maybe 1 to 150. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Good afternoon, Senator Mitchell, Senator Block. My name is Joanna Hester from San Diego, representing UDW, AFSCME, Local 3930. You know, millions of underpaid Californians will benefit from the minimum wage bill that passed last week. We're very thankful for that. But while this is good for most working families, family child care providers were left out. These providers will be required to pay their assistants the new minimum wage, but without an increase in their reimbursement rates, family child care providers will continue to struggle to provide for their own families and keep their home-based daycares open. We strongly urge the committee to adopt the Women's Caucus proposal to increase both the regional market rate and the standard reimbursement rate. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Good afternoon, committee members and Senator Mitchell. I'm Jessica Wood with Sonoma Parent Voices. We ask that you support the Women's Caucus budget recommendation of $800 million. I myself was a latchkey child. I turned to gangs. I was a teen mother, and it was all because I had no access to childcare. Today, I'm a single mom. I'm a mother to 2 boys. I'm working on my bachelor's degree right now, and my whole life is I'm able to do everything I do because I have my subsidized childcare. So please help. Right now in Sonoma County alone, there's 4,000 kids on our waiting list. Just help them have the same opportunities that I have. I see a way out. I have hope. Please help grant access to all of the 300,000 kids all across California that don't have that opportunity right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next witness, please, 1 minute.
Jennifer Greppy, Parent Voices California, and I just wanted to talk quickly about SMI and the fact that, yes, it's 2007, but it's based on 2005 numbers, and what that means is that parents, a family, a single mom with 2 children could earn 22% more. That's $900 extra that parent could earn if the levels were brought to current. This is a huge issue, and it has to be addressed this year in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness, 1 minute.
Hi, Mary Ignatius, Parent Voices. I wanted to address a little bit of the child care and stage 1 issues for CalWORKs families. In particular, in Oakland, our chapter has been working directly with families in the CalWORKs program and their local social services agency. They surveyed 250 parents. She said most of them were offered child care, but because the child care entry process is so complicated, many of them didn't use it and they didn't understand the process. Some of them were sanctioned because they couldn't get childcare for the job club activities or attending orientation because, as she says, you can't bring kids to those things. And so this idea that we heard around on-site childcare, drop-in childcare near the welfare office, emergency subsidies, if there are unspent dollars, maybe we could use those dollars to create those childcare opportunities so those families are not getting sanctioned and are getting into the system. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Danita Stromgren, representing the Northern Directors Group. And first, I'd like to thank the Women's Caucus, and we support their proposal for the budgets. I also really want to thank you all for your thoughtful questions and comments today. It's really clear you understand our issues and systems. We'd first of all like to support all child care reimbursement rate increases, specifically with regards to the regional market rate. We continue to find that providers are still charging primarily at the cap, which means that we're still pretty much paying well below the market rate. An increase there will increase the access to care for all parents and also give providers a living wage. In addition to the issue related to the state median income level, I'd like to just point out that not only is it important to increase the top level, but also as you're increasing and bringing and modernizing the state median income level, you're actually improving the parent fee schedule and bringing that up to date. Right now, parents are paying fees actually at about 30% of the state median income level when you look at 2016 wages and applying that to an outdated fee schedule and state median income level. So thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Hi, Kate Miller with Children Now, and just wanted to talk briefly about the Child Care Development Block Grant. We've worked with a number of partners here and with you, Senator Mitchell, in the fall, and it really lifted up the CCDBG, as an opportunity to do some meaningful planning for strengthening our system, the work we know we need to do here in the state. To create a meaningful vision over time and lay out some real steps for implementation. And we recognize the cost implications, but really, have been saying for quite some time, it's not an excuse for us not to meet these new provisions and move forward. And I'd just like to note that the Women's Caucus proposal, which Children Now is very supportive of, would really, in fact, help move us towards some of these new provisions, particularly raising the reimbursement rates that you've been hearing about, creating the 12-month eligibility and the graduated phase-out, investing in quality and professional development and infrastructure. As was noted, we're very supportive of the Consumer Education Database proposal, the QRIS block grants. All of these would help move us toward meeting the implementation requirements. And so they're twofers, really. Something we need, we can do through the state budget, but also really moving us towards the federal requirements. And we'll just need to chip away over time, but any talks of restructuring as well as just restoring our system really should be in tandem in looking at the federal requirements as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness, 1 minute, please.
Monique Ramos on behalf of First 5 LA, and we'd like to align our comments with Ms. Gable's comments. We co-signed on to the Early Childhood Education Coalition letter, and also we have endorsed the Women's Caucus proposal, and in addition, on top of the QRIS, are also requesting support for the R&R network databases. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Christina Figueroa with Parent Voices, San Joaquin County. I would like to just voice my support for the Legislative Women's Caucus and their ask for the $800 million for early education. This additional funding would support the thousands of families that are on our waiting list, including myself and my family. I have 2 children and 1 on the way, so 3. And also with the update of the state median income, more families would qualify for additional, for child care assistance. And with the 12-month eligibility, it would support the thousands of families in becoming more self-sufficient. Thank you so much.
Thank you. 1 minute, please. Next witness.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosemary Perez, and I'm with Parent Voices, Sonoma County. I am a parent of 5 children, 3 biological children, 2 stepchildren, and I have benefited successfully by utilizing many social services, including CalWORKs and child care subsidies. And because of child care subsidies and the Welfare to Work program, I was able to return back to school, graduate with 2 8 degrees from the junior college last year, and I'm currently in my 2nd semester studying social work at San Francisco State University. And because of child care, I'm able to be a positive role model for my children, and I feel like I'm here to ask you to do everything in your power to ensure that all families have the same opportunity that I've had and be able to be a good role model for their kids and provide a safe, affordable, and quality child care for their children as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next witness, 1 minute.
Good afternoon. Beverly Yu with UDW, AFSCME Local 3930. We support the Women's Caucus proposal because it helps both families and family child care providers and ensures stability and quality in our state child care system. Income ceilings has not kept up with the rate of inflation and minimum wage increases. And as a result, many families are priced out child care programs and our providers lose children in their care. We strongly urge the committee to update the eligibility guidelines to reflect the current state median income and raise the exit level to 85% of the SMI. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness, 1 minute.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Yvonne Griffin with United Domestic Workers, AFSCME Local 3930. California children are in need of quality child care, yet right now less than 10% of income-eligible families with infants and toddlers are enrolled in our state child care system. An increase in slots will put more children in the home-based daycares of family care providers. It would also give more parents access for childcare so they can work to provide for their families. We support the Women's Caucus proposal and strongly urge the committee to add 25,000 slots to both general childcare and alternative payment systems.
Thank you. Next witness, 1 minute.
Thank you. My name is Idell Wilson, and I'm here with Parent Voices, and I'm here as a support for them because I was here 20 years ago. Now I have my grandchildren that I'm fighting for, and I love being here, being a support. I don't want to say nothing else because I will ditto everything.
Thank you very much. Next witness.
Yeah, my name is Maria Lustor. I'm the organizer of Parent Voices in San Francisco, and like Idell, yeah, we've been fighting for 20 years. Parent Voices started about when welfare reform started, and I remember at the time there were new programs like the Stage 2 childcare, and we went to our HSA, our DHS commission in San Francisco, and told them like parents won't enroll in this program unless they know it exists. So they turned around and told us, here's a little amount of money, do the outreach. And in San Francisco, we actually increased enrollment in Stage 2 by 50%. I know other counties didn't do that, they get sanctioned, but I think one thing we learned is that there's this policy in Health and Human Services not to tell parents, not to expend any more effort to tell them what programs are available for them. You have to be a savvy parent to know that the program exists. And I think a little bit more information to the parents and like the data program or any way of letting parents know that the service exists and they could apply for it. And I support the Women's Caucus proposal too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next witness, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Nina Boothie, California Child Development Administrators Association. Ditto everything that everybody else said, but I also wanted to provide a little bit more clarification on the 2 reimbursement rates. I know there was some questions there. So we've talked a lot about the regional market rate. There's 58 different rates. There's 1 rate per county. It is, there's a lot of other factors involved with it. It is updated on a biannual basis every 2 years. Whether or not the legislature chooses to adopt the most recent survey or not is up to their discretion. The other side of the system, which is the direct contracting centers, receive the standard reimbursement rate. There is 1 standard reimbursement rate across the state for every single 58 counties. There is not a survey that is done every 2 years to look at the cost of care or the regional differences. The standard reimbursement rate was started in 1980. It was put in educational code. Although these programs are statutorily obligated to get the same COLA as K-12 systems, they have not done so, and it has gotten frozen. And if these programs had gotten the same COLA as K-12, we would actually be 28.6% at a higher reimbursement rate than we are currently. For those of you who were here earlier who did get this chart in terms of the reimbursement rates, you will see on the far left-hand side are the Title V centers. These are the direct contracting ones that get the standard reimbursement rate. The current rate right now for a preschool full-day child is a reimbursement of $38.53. Should we have gotten those COLAs all of those years, the reimbursement rate would actually be $49.55. And then just comparing it to San Diego, if we were getting the regional market rate, the 85th percentile of the regional market rate, which is what's going, they would actually be getting $57.10. I would be more than happy to provide the committee with this data and numbers. I have tons of it, happy to share it with you, but just wanted to give you some clarification. Thank you so much.
Thank you for those examples. That was helpful. Next witness, please. 1 minute.
Khadija Alam Javed with the Advancement Project. In addition to my comments made earlier today, I want to, for the record, I want to note that we agree with the proposal that was made by Ms. Gable, and which is beyond the QRIS. It includes many elements that were presented today in the most recent panel. Basically, we support it all, and we respectfully ask that you make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Easier said than done.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time. Laura Magnus-Daughter with Community Child Care Council of Sonoma County wanted to voice our strong support for the Legislative Women's Caucus ask and wanted to put in a plug for the centralized eligibility list, which is not just maintaining a list, but spending a lot of time with each family collecting very rich, very useful data in every county on all the families who are reaching out for help with childcare, and that is something, data that we can use to thoughtfully construct programs built on actual, the reality on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next witness, 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Aliyah Gafour. I'm from representing Southern Alameda County Chapter Parent Voices. I am a welfare to work mother of 2 kids. I was single. My husband did pass away, and that's how I got into the system. I can tell you that it is successful when it's implemented, and it does work. Okay, without the child care subsidy, I would not have been able to graduate with a bachelor's degree in marketing and business. I would not be able to jump twice, or I would say 3 times my income over the last 5-6 years. And without the subsidy, my children wouldn't have got the early education that they needed to prepare them for school today. So I highly encourage the 12-month eligibility, because the quarterly reporting was outrageous, that I had to constantly report the same things over and over again, prove that I'm in school, prove that I'm taking these classes, prove that my grades are at the A+ level, B+ level. And I would like to say that I want 300,000 other children's families, even their parents, single parents, to have the same opportunities, give them the tools that they need for the 12-month eligibility to help sustain them and become more self-sufficient. If you imagine, a lot of other parents, I'm sure, would love to go back to school and get a higher paying job, but they need the tools from our state and our local counties to help them get there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well spoken. Next witness.
Hi, Lola Cornish with the California Child Care Resource and Referral Network. And I just want to call out a requirement that's in the Child Care and Development Block Grant for annual inspections of child care facilities. Last year, our agency sponsored legislation that made it all the way to the governor's desk that would have required annual inspections. In his veto message, he suggested that this would better be addressed during the budget process, and yet his budget this year has been notably silent on annual inspections. Just like to remind you all that the Starbucks where you got your coffee and the elevator that you rode to the 4th floor were both inspected this year. Why not childcare? Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness. Say it again.
Part of what's now being changed under the new rules, right?
No. We had an earlier conversation about the federal CCDBG block grant that requires it, and we were hearing from the Department of Finance about their challenge in doing so.
But don't we have to now under the federal regs?
That was the conversation we had where, not really. Yeah. We'll have an offline conversation because it was lengthy, sir. Yes. Next witness, thank you.
To that point, Elsa Jacobson from LAUP, it sounds like they don't know what the federal penalties might be for noncompliance with those regulations. And I just wanted to note that again, I'm from LAUP, and we were a signatory to the ECE coalition letter that Ms. Gable noted in her testimony that calls for increased investments in rate, slots, and quality. I also wanted to underscore the need for increased investment in QRIS in particular. The current QRIS block grant only serves a fraction of the providers that need the support. Thank you.
Thank you. And last witness.
Okay, hi, my name is Elia Fernandez, and I'm with Parent Voices in San Francisco, and I'm a grandmother of 5 grandkids, and I'm here today because for 20 years I've been coming here and asking for support and access to childcare, and we also need it for more families, not only for me now, but for many more families, and please support the Women's Caucus. And that's it for me today, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your diligence in coming for 20 years. Senator Block, you have some closing remarks?
Yeah, Senator Mitchell, I just want to thank you. You clearly have expertise, and your subcommittee does, that is going to help us all make these decisions. I want to thank all the presenters, finance, LAO, et cetera, and especially for staying through the whole. It's always important for you all to hear the public comments, and I appreciate that you stay. I want to thank our consultants for the job they've done, and my colleagues on the committee, and turn it back over to you for a close.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank the members of the public, those of you who are child care providers who are running agencies, from stepping away from your everyday work to come here to attempt to educate us, the department, the finance and LAO on the realities of running these programs every day. So thank you very much. Senator Allen.
I just wanted to apologize for missing much of it. I was chairing the elections budget discussion downstairs, but I certainly found what I did get to hear fascinating, and look forward to briefing with my staff on the portions that I missed. And I really do appreciate everyone educating me on some of these new reimbursement factors that I'm still getting my head around. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and the joint budget subcommittees will stand adjourned.